says, and she comes to me and snuggles up next to me together now comfortably. Be as can be. Next day we all rise, and inside we are all happy. We are as strong as our foundation, and our eyes are wide and they see within the walls of this little house. We will always be born free. We are born free. Hey, thanks.
All right, let's see if I can remember all the things in a reasonable order. First of all, in case you're just joining us, this is WEFT Sessions on WEFT 90.1 FM with special guest Fall Afternoon. I would like to welcome back Thomas to our live audience. It's been several years. Always nice to have old friends check in. And so you revealed during that song you're actually a mouse. I think several people would be interested to know how you reconcile that with living
I'm not actually a mouse, but I get a lot of influence from like fairy tales and lullabies and things like that. So I like to try to tell stories with my lyrics a lot of the time.
Well, then I will skip the next couple of questions.
Well, what are they? You got
They
anything
have to
interesting?
do with mouse life.
What it's
so-
like being a mouse.
Right, exactly. Fooling people into thinking you're human. And
Yeah, it's tricky business.
I also probably have not been very nice to some of the mice I've come across because I had a rental agreement a long time ago that didn't work out very well. So
It's funny because when we see mice in real life, they're really scary. But anytime they're in a fairy tale, they're always really cute and fuzzy. But when you see one in real life, it's like, get that thing away from me.
It's not that I think they're scary. It's that I'm worried about the cleanliness after. Once I
Right.
see a mouse, I'm going to assume I need to disinfect everything.
Yeah, well, they hang out in really dirty places.
Right.
But they are cute, though.
Disney World, Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's not actually disparaging Disney World and Disneyland. Just,
I was going to say, I think Disney's pretty clean.
I don't
know.
think those are typical mice. They're a little taller than most of them.
And they wear human clothes, oddly enough.
For the most part. They do have the little tail holes, but
Yeah. Well,
anyway, let's talk about something a little more normal, which is
aw.
it's your hour if you want to talk about pretty much anything
I
that's
like
not
weird stuff.
Okay.
Obviously.
Well, I've only heard one of your songs, so I don't it's not that obvious yet, but so tell us how this project came into being. Since it's just you, it's not like you had to meet people and form the band.
Well, it kind of just started from me. I mean, I've played in a lot of different bands,
Did you name
but
a few?
usually as a bass player. And I guess it just kind of started because I was like, hey, it would be cool if I could make my own songs.
Would you mind naming a few of the other bands you've been in?
I'm in a band, interestingly enough, none of them sound anything like this,
Okay.
but I'm in one band that is called Cosmic Lung.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like a hard rock
Oh,
sort
just
of
like
thing.
this. Exactly like the first song.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I was getting real disturbed vibes out of that first song, so.
Yeah. And then I was also in a band that's not active anymore called Orator. And we were like a sludge sort of screamy, heavy band. And I played bass in both of those bands. And one of my friends gave me an acoustic guitar a couple years ago, and I just started playing around on it and just fell in love with it. So I kind of just, started doing my own thing. I don't take it super seriously. I kind of just do it for fun. And
Now, has all of your band activity or playing out been in the Champaign-Urbana area?
pretty much, yeah. My band Orator went on a tour that we went through like St. Louis. We went all the way out to Texas and Kansas City. And so we played around a little bit, but Cosmic Lung has been almost entirely local.
It's not like you grew up with your parents deeply entrenched in the Eugene, Oregon music scene and you
No,
were...
absolutely not.
Okay.
No, nothing that exciting or exotic.
Exotic is always relative to where you're from and where you are.
That's
I
true.
think. I mean, Champaign-Urbana can be pretty exotic to some people, and then others just laugh. So,
Yeah, it just depends on who you are, I guess.
well, anything else you want to talk about, or do you want to get on with song number 2?
I'll go ahead and keep playing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll talk after. Maybe do 2 in a row, and then we'll come back.
Sounds good. This one is called As Above, So Below.
just fine, but feels like a waste. But visions of the horizon keep me going. But I don't know how many more songs that I can make. 'Cause what am I providing? Does anyone even really care? Or do they just drink some beer, bob their heads and go home and make friends and forget all about the soul I just spilled? And what am I providing? And what am I gaining? Does anyone even really care? Dissonance between what my heart wants and what my brain says is true. And I keep pouring my thoughts into the microphone and deaf ears. Practice all day to see another empty room in front of me. Ooh. And I keep telling friends and family what I know they wanna hear. School is good, and I just got a new job at the local grocery store. Ooh. me to keep going. But I don't know how much more of this my soul can take. 'Cause what am I providing? And what am I gaining? This is what keeps me up.
So believe it or not, that was actually 3 songs. I kind of got carried away.
I can't believe that. That is just...
Unbelievable. Like, it was so short, so quick-winded.
You can convince me of many conspiracy theories, but there was no way that was 3 songs.
It was 3 songs.
Well, we must collectively be doing something right because we have a pretty high listenership tonight. So thank you for whatever you did to contribute to that.
Oh, cool. I just showed up, but I'm
Yeah, I
glad
mean,
it's
did you
working
tell
out.
people...
Nope.
Oh, well... You have a lot of listeners.
I'm glad that it's working out, though. That makes me very happy.
If there is anything you wanted to reach that many people with, now would be the time.
Now I'm extra nervous, but
Well,
that
I
makes
mean,
me happy. Thanks, everybody. I hope you're enjoying my long 3 songs that seem like one song.
The good news on WEFT is, unlike, say, on, I don't know, CBS in the 1980s, for instance, high listenership doesn't mean millions of people are silently judging you. It means probably people who already like you are, I could still probably do a roll call if I needed to.
I hope so.
But anyway, just want to thank everybody because
Yeah,
obviously
thanks, everybody. And thank you guys for having me on. It's really awesome.
a show without listeners can be cool, but nobody knows.
Right.
So it's much more exciting when people are sharing the experience.
Totally.
So now you said you did 3 songs in a row. How many do you still have that infinite stockpile?
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of songs.
Good.
There was one more that I was going to play for sure, but I didn't know how long you were going to want me to play, so...
Well, why don't you tell, since more people have tuned in, why don't you tell people who you are? Because we talked a little bit about how you got playing, but I don't think you really told people much about yourself besides being a bassist for those other bands.
Well, I'm Fall Afternoon. My name's Luke. I go by Fall Afternoon.
You're not Lucas with the lid off, right?
What?
Oh, you must...
With the lid
That
off?
must be a more dated reference than I realized. It was a one-hit wonder, I think, from Norway back in the 90s, and it was like a white rapper who wasn't great. But
Oh.
I just figured if you were named Lucas, you'd probably gotten a lot of jokes about him because
No, I'm going to have to go check that out, though. That sounds really interesting.
he might actually be Danish, not Norway. Either way, it was. I don't even know that I actually heard him in the 90s. I just heard about him, and it was kind of like Vanilla Ice by way of another
Right.
country. So
That's cool. No, I am not that person. But
you'd probably be a lot older if you were.
yeah. I just play a lot of open mics. Well, I wouldn't say I play a lot of open mics, but I play them when I can. I'm a really busy person, but you see me around a lot of open mics, and actually I might be going to the Canopy Club open mic after this.
So being a bassist is not your only means of making a living.
No, absolutely
That was
not.
sort of a joke. But
Right. I wish it was. That would be a really cool full-time job.
I do think the world ought to have more self-sufficient, like full-time bassists, just because that would be a neat economy.
I could probably do that. I haven't dedicated a lot of time to learning other people's songs. So I've always only just written stuff and come up with my own stuff. But I'm sure for anyone who plays bass out there, I'm sure that that's a promising gig. You could probably just learn bass parts and join bands.
Well, there's a lot of, I think, income envy. Yes, Mike?
Oh, I just noticed that on our extensive archives that Cosmic Lung played here
We did play here a couple years ago.
January 2018.
See, I was
Oh.
afraid since he didn't divulge that himself that he might not want to talk about it, but
Yeah, we
He
did.
mention the
I
band.
thought
He
it was-
even said the band.
I thought it was longer ago than that, but yeah, apparently not. We did play here a long time ago. We have other members now, though. So
Okay.
we're a much bigger band.
well, all I started to say is I think a lot of people say, "Oh gosh, I wish I made more doing what I'm doing. That person is rich and glamorous." And I think I'd read it before, but I was just reading. Apparently, the models on The Price is Right don't get paid very much, and people assume that they live in mansions. One was living out of her car.
That's sad.
So the whole idea, oh, I wish I had it made like so and so. I think most people know the entertainment industry is rough, but yeah, if you are a musician not making a lot of money, being on TV doesn't mean or radio mean you make much money either. So
Right.
you really have to like it.
I'm kind of at the point where if someone even gives one of my songs or albums the time of day, I'm just ecstatic about it. So
Well, we're happy when people still give us albums to give the time of day. So
yeah.
Anyway, so you've been on WEFT that other time that we.
One other time, yes. But this is my first appearance as Fall Afternoon. So again, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Just before we go on, you mentioned open mics. Are there any opportunities that you would like people to show up to in the near future?
Well, they just started doing a open mic at Espresso Royale.
Which one?
It's the one on campus over by
Goodwin?
Nevada.
Goodwin and by Cranert?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that one.
The other main one, the other institutional one is gone, but I think they still have a few scattered. I mean, they have one on Neal Street. So.
Yeah, they were doing it at a different place for a while, and then they moved it. But that's always a really fun time.
Well, good.
Yeah.
And that's
then
the one with the mezzanine, right?
With who?
The upstairs that you can.
Yes. Yeah, that is the one. They don't do it up there, though.
Oh,
they
no,
do
I
it
just-
downstairs. But yeah, they do.
Just
Yeah,
setting
they
the
have-
scene so people can visualize which coffee shop.
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
the one that's, they have an upstairs, and yeah.
Yeah, I used to work 3 doors down from there, and I don't anymore. It's been a long time, but it was nice having that right almost next door.
Yeah.
That's where I saw Shirley Manson,
Also, the Canopy Club open mics on Mondays are always fun.
which is what? Also pretty much next door?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all kind of in the same area.
It's almost like the Champaign downtown music scene has moved to Urbana. Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, they also have some cool, venues here and there. Like they have a place called Birdhouse where they have a lot of good shows there. It's a house.
I thought that was just in your soul.
in your soul.
Moving on.
I mean, it could be if you like birds a lot, I guess.
Moving on.
Is that another reference that I can't understand because I'm a millennial?
I never hear somebody claim to be a millennial. I just hear people talking about. I actually thought until very recently that millennials meant people born after, like, in the 2000s. And now they've tried moving it all the way back to 70.
No, it goes pretty far back.
The
man.
last I saw it was into like 77 or so.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna
You might be a
subsume
millennial.
they're gonna subsume the 60s and the 50s, and Mike is gonna be a millennial tomorrow.
Right.
Boomer millennial?
Yes. the millennials will predate boomers before they're done. So anyway, you probably want to play at least another song or two, right? And we've got according to that, over 30 minutes. I think that's a little slow, but I would say, why don't you just start playing songs and just call me when you want me out here? But I think you should do at least 3 in a row if you have them.
Okay.
And one more time, your fall afternoon.
Fall afternoon.
On
Yes.
WEFT 90.1 FM, Champaign. Thank you.
Falling from the clouds, rain falls again. Water knows no bounds, rolls down street drain, singing low into the ground. A consistent flow, a reflective glow. Watch voices without a sound, rising up from the ground. A bittersweet smell like soft buttercups. Rising towards the clouds in the form of steam, flying home proud like something in a dream, flying high into the sky. A consistent flow, a reflective glow, moisturizes without a sound, rising up from the ground. A bittersweet smell like soft buttercups. Love the rain.
Okay, so I have more songs. Thank you. But I'm going to have to tune down for these next two. So, I don't know if a person wants to come talk to me while this happens, or you can just awkwardly listen to me tune. That's also okay. Ah, there's a person.
You couldn't hear me, could you?
No, I could not.
I was screaming that I was on my way.
Oh, okay.
I could hear you. You know what? It just occurred to me. I could hear you fine because you were being piped into the booth, and I was just shouting through wooden walls. or
Like, it's just a
concrete.
wall, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to get a megaphone or like a tube.
Normally, people don't tell me I'm not loud enough. That happened, I think, in 7th grade, and that was the last time.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's good that you learn from mistakes.
well, I think I've only ever not been loud enough if it was a situation like gym class where I wasn't extremely confident of wanting to be heard.
Right.
I say that. There was they filmed us once and my voice did not pick up on the video, which is strange because normally it does. But
So you're just asking questions and it's like,
yeah, it looked like I was doing lip sync. It was very strange and not synced to anything. It was just silent. Silent film. We missed a Charlie Chaplin question last night, and I should have known better. So, silent film. We can do even more pop culture references that are too old for everybody. Although I have heard from at least one person who said that she can't hear the name Lucas without thinking of Lucas with the lid off. I love you. So
Really?
thank you for making me feel not completely like I'm from an alternate
wow.
timeline.
I really need to listen to that now.
Well, now I should do a who in the room has ever heard of Lucas with the lid off? So only me, but
And that one
at
person.
least one of my listeners. And hopefully, I say hopefully, I don't know that it's important that additional listeners, it's not, of all the things I could recommend, that's not something I'd say you have to listen to this.
Yeah. Well, I was homeschooled too, so I missed out on a lot of the pop culture references.
Some of that is, if you're not going to trivia nights, some of that might be to your benefit, because there are certainly some things that I feel I had a happier childhood for not having had to endure. Certain really, really bad bands that are not local. They're not local, so I can say that. I'm still not naming them, but what's funny to me is that people are like, oh, Milli Vanilli used to be so good, and then I found out it was somebody else, and they suck now. I'm like, it's the same recording. I mean, I didn't think it was a very good recording in the first place, so I'm not out anything. But, you know, if I sort of feel like there are issues of intellectual honesty and all, but I'm not... I remember people saying, Green by R.E.M. used to be such a good album, and then they sold out. I'm like, it's the same album.
Yeah. Yeah, once you record it, it's that way. It's locked in time forever, like that. So it doesn't change.
People's relationships with music can be really interesting.
I guess those can change.
Yeah.
But the recording itself didn't change.
Right. Maybe you changed.
Right.
And, you know, I think most people would want to change from when they're 15, because then they'd, you know... It's kind of nice when your skin clears up.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I just had to tune down for these last couple songs, so sorry.
Now, do you still have an unlimited supply?
I do.
Okay.
And it's all in this tuning.
Well, just play until you want me to come back out, and I'll come back out.
Okay.
Thanks. Fall Afternoon.
Fall Afternoon.
I was walking through the park alone, tripping on psilocybin mushrooms. When I lay down underneath the tree, looking at the pattern of the branches. Grass.
All right, I'm going to play one more song, and then I'm going to call it. So,
Let me make sure I understand. If we're talking before the last song, we need to talk now?
it's up to you.
Well, we need to talk before the last song. So if
This
you-
is going to be the last one.
Okay,
so yes,
that's what
we
I
need
wanted to
talk.
make sure of. I didn't know if it was you were doing one more song and then we were gonna prepare for an
Right,
encore.
I
or-
got you. Sorry, I should have been more clear about that.
Well, no, you were clear enough that I came running. I just want to make sure that the next show is ready to go when.
Right.
Because technically it's.
I'm going to play one more. I do have infinite songs, but I'm not super tight on all those. And the longer that I play, the less tight I'm going to become. So
This is September 30th, right?
it is.
I very often on this show reference an old show that hasn't been on since 1984, and it was two shows. They had Match Game, and then about 22 minutes in, it transitioned to Hollywood Squares, and it was a hybrid. Well, I believe it's today, September 30th. They have brought it back for the first time since It's 35-year-old show that nobody's seen in 35 years. So
What?
that reference will no longer be a completely inscrutable, totally obscure, forgotten thing.
Holy cow.
And similarly, WEF Sessions and Local 901, you could argue they're two separate shows. You could argue they're not, because I'm hosting both of them and they're both about local music. It's just we have a live segment and then we continue with a not live segment.
Yeah.
I think they're probably two separate shows. For instance, one airs on UPT and YouTube and the other one does not. But for me, it's all kind of one experience. And whenever you get done, maybe this show is 53 minutes and the next show is an hour and 7 minutes. So as long as I know to have the other portion ready to go, it's a smooth transition.
Excellent.
But
I
that's,
got it.
that's why I like to go ahead and not find out, oh, the show ended. I guess I should be doing the next show.
Right. Like
So-
after the last song.
Right.
By the way, that was the last song.
It's always a little bit anticlimactic, and every now and then Mike will come in and tell me, by the way, did you notice that they changed their mind about doing an encore? And it's so, which, you know, it's just a communication thing. So thank
Right.
you. You were sufficient and correct in tipping me off.
A little
And this way-
sloppy, but we got there.
As I said, if extra people are tuned in, obviously you have a support base.
Cool.
Now, if they'd all turned off, I would assume we were doing something wrong. So, anything you want to summarize, have people take away from the show, know about you, Lucas's in general?
Not really, other than I do have an album that I put out earlier this year that you can find online. It's not on Spotify yet.
What's it called?
It's just self-titled. It's called Fall Afternoon. You can literally type in Fall Afternoon into Google, and I'm the first person who shows up. So I have a full length that I put out at the beginning of the year, and then I also have another demo thing that I did. So if you like what you hear, you can go listen to it for free, or you can download it, have it on your phone, whatever. Or you don't have to, whatever, but I just want people to know that it is there. And other than that, go to shows, and maybe you'll see me around.
What's a particular open mic that you would tell people, like, this next one, highly recommended?
Open mic at Canopy, definitely.
And
That's
when is it?
always a good time. It's Mondays at 8 o'clock.
So right before this show.
Yes.
And it's possible to go to that and still listen to the show, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a plan.
Excellent.
You
Thanks.
notice I had to work a little self-preservation for WEFT in there.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's always funny when people link me to videos during my show, and it's like, well, you realize I'm actually playing media right now, but, you know, afterward I'll be interested.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
All
thanks
right.
for having me on.
well, glad to have you. And next hour, I already mentioned, we're probably going to start off with some 80s local music and bring it up to the present. It's not going to be like Wednesday where it's actually taking place in the past. So, all right, Fall Afternoon on WEF Sessions, one more song, and then a whole other hour of local music. Thank you, Lucas. Stick around, get your CD, and we'll see each other.
Sounds good.
yourself. You never really were that great at anything. Ooh, One day the earth will open up and swallow me. And now I'll be home, back to the place where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be.
Thanks, everybody. I'm Fall Afternoon. Take it easy and listen to WEFT.